Alright, so after we got the bearings taken out of the block, after we got it all clearanced out, see, we did all our clearance in back here on this. For our, we clearanced on, this is a stroker, so we had to do some clearancing on the block. You know, everything is we're basically ready for assembly. We've clayed it up, we've tested everything, make sure everything fits and works. We did our clearancing on the block, did our clearancing on the crank. We clearanced on the crank for the cam. We also had the clearance a little bit on the lobe of the cam to clear the inside of the rod. This here is a 460. It's a Duramax 440 block that I put a stroker crankshaft in. Has a 92 millimeter piston. Has the ARP stud bolts. It has a custom coil mount bracket that was made. And basically everything on this engine has been spec'd, blueprinted. It's ready to go for final assembly. So before final assembly starts, couple things, you just got to really make sure the block is really clean. So right down in here, a lot of shit will get trapped and you really can't see through there that well. So what I like to do is spray it with the cleaner down through there, get the bore. Another place that shit likes to get caught in the block is while we're over here, we could do this side. You could just see the shit that's running off of it. I don't know if you can see that, but look at the shit. Now this is just brake cleaner. So go ahead and hit it. Give it a nice clean before final assembly, because once it's assembled, that's it. Another thing I've done is I've taken the oil drain plugs out so you could get a real good blow through. Look at all the shit that was in there. You know, still coming out. Look at all that stuff. Oh, clean up the table, nice. But this is brake cleaner. So you want to get down in all these holes here. Get all this shit out of there, because getting this clean is a huge jump. If you don't have this clean when you start, you're already off to a huge disadvantage. These engines as is, even as clean as possible, from, you know, even after you start them up, even if they're as clean as a whistle, even after 5 hours of running, that oil's gonna look like metallic paint just off a couple hours of running. So to get all of this stuff out of there as you can from the beginning is huge. So this is just the best way to clean the block. Basically pull the drain plugs, take everything out, anything that you can see for a bolt. After you had it all put together nicely and clearanced, take it all back apart, and this is when you start doing the final clean. And then when you start doing the final clean, this is when you start going back through the motor very meticulously. That should have already been done, but when you're putting this thing together now, this is when it really counts. This is when every little piece of dust, every little piece of hair, any little fiber or metallic flake you see, you remove it, clean it real thoroughly, and you make sure you lubricate everything with, say Mobil 1 synthetic oil. As you're doing assembly, the same oil that you're going to run in it, that's what you assemble with. So starting with a real clean engine is absolutely imperative. So get the block cleaned out, all up in all the journals, the cam journals, any of the threads, and that's a great starting point. Cleanliness.